Church, there's a whole bunch of people that need you. They need you personally. Because they're lost. They've been misled. Some don't even believe in God. There's some people out there that are hurting. And they don't even know it. They're destined for something worse than any electric chair, gas chamber that ever offered mankind. They need us. So, as we continue our walk in life, let's look at the challenges of Christian living. I've sort of taken a lot of thoughts from Numbers chapter 11 through 14. But there's several inherent problems with being a Christian. The reason that we continue to have all this adversity, all these things coming at us, all these tribulations and problems, is because of our enemy, the devil himself. All those people that are lost, they have the same enemy. But what we've got to do for ourselves is overcome everything he throws at us. And if we care about anybody else on earth, we've got to help them overcome those things. We've got to teach them the truth. Numbers 11 through 14, we see the people of God, constantly rebelling against Satan. Now, they rebelled against God. Why Satan? Why Satan? Well, he was at work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, back then, trying to get the people of God to go to hell. He's still working on us. And all those poor precious souls need us. 1 Peter 5, 8, and 9, be sober. In other words, have a clear mind. Be vigilant. Go get it. Because your adversary, your enemy, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. He'll eat you up. He'll eat you up with all kinds of little sweet offers that you fall for. He'll make you tired, too tired to worship God, you know. It's in your mind. Resist him. Steadfast in the faith. Hang in there. Don't you give up for nothing. You know, there's so many people that have lived a whole lifetime. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, not even 100 years. And in the last days, give up and fall to temptation and hate God. Can you believe that? No, we've got to be steadfast in faith, knowing that the same sufferings that you're going through are experienced by all kinds of other people in this whole world today. 2 Timothy 3:12 says, yes, and all who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus, that's us, will suffer persecution. To the person who wants to do more than play at Christianity. I want to flirt with, yeah, I'm a Christian. Well, I didn't even know that. Well, I am. To the person who wants to do more than play at Christianity, these perils, these terrible things, pose a serious challenge. A serious challenge. Trying to make it to heaven. What's worse than not even hearing the gospel is hearing the gospel, obeying the gospel, and then go tiptoe through the tulips, you might say, the rest of your life and not really get into it. By looking at the life of Moses, we can see several perils that he faced that are common to us today. We can pick up things that they were guilty of. We might be too. The challenge of discouragement and depression. We find the people of Moses was called to lead. The people that he was called to lead, Moses did, were a disgruntled and dissatisfied people. Wait a minute. Moses, the great and mighty Moses, God's chosen man, I mean a man of the Word, a man of God. And God put him to help some disgruntled, dissatisfied people. Are you serious? In those verses, we see Moses putting out fire after fire after fire. You ever heard anybody say, how was work? I'm a fireman. What do you mean? All I do is put out fires. They ain't got time to do nothing but put out fires. Gripe here, gripe there, disgruntled. That's what he was doing. If the people around you are negative, it spreads like wildfire. I mean, it does. And it can even cause anyone to become lost. if you want to break someone's spirit of love, if you want to break their back, the best way to do that, and I'm going to teach you a negative response on selling. Let's ruin some souls. That's the best way to do it. Discouragement. There's not a better way. Break their spirit. Moses was so discouraged, and said, now we're talking about not just somebody. We're talking about Moses was discouraged that he began to question God himself. What? In Numbers 11:11, so Moses said to the Lord, why have you afflicted your servant? Why, God, have you put this on my back? And why have I not found favor in your sight that you have laid the burden of these gripey people on me? Moses wanted to please God and lead these people, but sometimes enough is enough. I've had it. Look at Numbers 11:14 through 15. I am not able to bear all these people alone because the burden's just too heavy for me, God. Now, if you treat me like this, just kill me. Right here and now, I'm done. I'd rather die than keep this up. If I found favor in your sight, God, do not let me see my wretchedness or misery, same word. Sometimes we're taken away because of evil. You know, when I hold funerals sometimes, I've had people cry and they say, why does it say that God always takes the good ones? Well, Isaiah 57:1 and 2 Kings 22:20. If you read those two verses, you'll see that God took these people away because He did not want them to see the evil that they were fixing to see. He didn't want to see the calamity that was in front of them. He loved them. They're His children. He wanted to take them home. And I believe God still does that. He takes some awful good people home lots of times. But these people were driving poor old Moses crazy. You can only put up with so much griping. But God did not abandon him. Thank the good Lord, He don't abandon you when you're trying. Chapter 11, 16 through 25 says, God took the burden of Moses and He put it on 70 men out there and made them elders, He put the burden on their back. There's nothing like, if you're a preacher or if you're one of maybe two elders or if you're deacons or if you're Christians, to have somebody take some of the burden off your back. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. The people were griping because this is one reason. They didn't have meat to eat. They wished they had stayed in Egypt as slaves. We took you out of slavery. We opened up the Red Sea. You walked across on dry water. Your enemy was destroyed, and now you're griping and complaining. You found something else to gripe about, didn't you? Because you don't have enough meat to eat. Dissension and discouragement can make you think some distorted, crazy thoughts. Like doubting God's appointed. These people were doubting Moses. Take that stick and boom, there's water. Take that stick and the sea. I don't think he can do that again. Always looking on the negative side of anybody and everything. That's what these people were doing. So God said He would give them so much meat that they could eat for a whole month and run out their nose. I think I've heard people say stuff like that before. Go ahead and eat. Hope it just runs out your nose in years. You can say that to me when I'm eating ice cream. Then Moses even questioned God. Moses even questioned God when He said He'd give them all the meat, more than they could eat, saying, what are we going to do? Slaughter all of our flocks? Is that what you're going to do? Then what are we going to have, God? He's doubting God now. People back then, can you believe they would actually doubt God with all He did? Why, I guess so. We doubt Him today. Why shouldn't they? In verse 23, we see God saying, hey, boys, has my arm gotten shorter or something? In other words, you don't think I can do what I promised? Where's the meat coming from? Let me tell you something. Have you forgotten he didn't say this, but if you go to Matthew 14, 13 through 21, you remember where there was 2 fish, 2 little fish, and 5 loaves of bread. And when you look at there's 5,000 men, plus the women and all the other people, and they all want to eat. You couldn't get a half a fork full in it last. And yet God fed them all. And if He'd done that, forget all the other things, it's just that. We still doubt God. Well, you know, God's in control. Yeah, but you don't understand. No, I do understand. I've been there myself. God's in control. His spirit was weakened. Moses, not some flippant guy flirting with religion. No, he actually questioned God. When a servant of God feels like just walking away, I'm done. I can't take it no more. He tries to think of Galatians 6, verse 9. Let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap. If I can hang in there, I will reap heaven itself, and you will too. We can't quit. Oh, sometimes you just want to. If we do not lose heart. Well, this person's breaking my spirit. This person's griping and going, well, so what? Is heaven more important to you, or are they more important to you? Let's go to heaven. The desire to be God's servant does not come from him, her, my mama, my papa, my kid. It comes from me. You being a servant of God has got to come from your heart, your want, your desires. The challenge of jealousy, being a Christian today, or indispensability. Numbers 11, 24 through 30. God came down, He spoke to these 70 elders, and they prophesied as His Spirit was laid on them, never to do it again. When Moses saw this, he was not jealous. Oh, what are you trying to take my job? Oh, thank you for the help, God. Thank you. Moses was thrilled. Leadership can become intoxicating that some get to experience. And all can experience if they'll just move the bars that are in front of them and walk out. God has given us all so much that we can do for our fellow man, that we can do in His service. Who holds us back? We do. I can't. Yes, you can. You can. Anybody can do anything. Help and support is something that just cannot be done without. It's wonderful. 1 Timothy 3:6, it says, not a novice, lest being puffed up, when with pride he fall into the same condemnation of the devil. Being a servant of God is not for the faint-hearted, guys. Man or woman, let me tell you something. Whether you're going to be an elder, a deacon, a preacher, a teacher, or a wonderful Christian on this God's green earth, it's not for the faint-hearted. You got to be strong. Because on every turn, there's an obstacle to overcome. And watch out behind your back. Moses wasn't threatened by more prophets, but welcomed their abilities. We can look at God's activity in the lives of these people. And we can see where finally joy was with them. Joy has got to questioning God. Moses, now all of a sudden he's got to thank God. He didn't give me one man to heck, give me 70. Thank you, God, thank you. When it's the darkest, behind that old dark cloud is the brightest thing you've ever seen. And he wasn't looking for their inabilities. He was looking for their abilities. He was looking for their help. Philippians 2:3-4, let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, my way or the highway, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem each other better than himself. Well, I can't do that, preacher. Why? Because I'm better than all these people. Did you listen? Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. And by the way, this is not something you might consider. If you want to please God, you better do it. God said do it. The challenge of being rejected is another challenge we all have. I don't like being rejected. It hurts my feelings. Well, I thought you was this and you was, well, I am all that in a bag of salt, boy. But man, I get my feelings hurt too. Numbers 13, 25 through 33. Here we see spies were sent out into Canaan. And they found out it was the land of milk and honey. Must have been Harrison, Tennessee. It was beautiful. The Lord said he was giving to the children of Israel that land. Oh man. God always keeps his promises. He had shown his long-lasting patience with his people and provided them all along the way. He never failed them. Yet when these spies came back, instead of saying, God, it's beautiful, we can't wait to get there, it's like, I've got $1 million cash, son, come and get it. I'll have to pay the taxes. Oh, well, I'll keep it. I'm going to give you the land of milk and honey. No, the enemy's too big. Oh, well, they'll whip us because all we are is nothing special. We're God's children. There's nobody, no country, not all countries on earth today, that can kill or destroy any of our souls and spirit. None. We can whip them all because we're in a spiritual warfare to start with. We don't give up. We're God's people. These people gave up. We don't give up. I have to ask, where was their faith? Let's talk about them old people. I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about them. Where was their faith? They didn't even remember all God had done for them. Is there a mountain too high for God to climb? I don't think so. What was wrong with those people? Well, John, they were just unknowledgeable, ignorant, weak people. I agree, like we are. Is this kind of weak faith still prevalent today? I think I've seen it about 1 or 2 times. Have y'all? In Numbers 14, we see them. They murmured against Moses. He brought you out of slavery. Every time you need food, you got it. Every time you need water, you got whatever you need, you keep getting it. And you keep staying. I distrust you. They wanted to select a new leader. Oh, let me tell you something. A prophet is not without honor. I did this when I was a salesman. I could pick that briefcase up, walk in with a suit on, and I was like the doctor of whatever I was selling. I knew it all. The man that they knew might have been their own son or that they knew very, very well. He wasn't near as good as this guy coming in we don't know. You get used to him. A prophet's not without it. Jesus' own family didn't even want to listen to him. Remember? And then this great leader they had, Moses. Oh, I thank you, Moses, for helping us. I want to kill him. Let's stone him to death. That's what you want to do. Can you endure rejection? I can, but I have to fight it hard. I don't want to be rejected. When we give all, when you give everything you've got to give, you've worked and you've worked and you've done and you've done, you didn't feel like it, you were tired, you were burned out, you kept driving, baby. Kept going. And then they just spit in your face. It's tough. When we all give all we got, when we swim the deepest seas, and we've climbed the highest mountains, and there's no appreciation. That's what Moses had done. And they rejected him. He must have been hurt. His spirit must have been broken. Because he questioned God, remember. How do you feel when you're neglected, rejected, and simply not appreciated? How do you feel? Oh, it don't bother me. I don't think I believe that. When we doubt God being able to help and take care of us, we rebel against God. There's so many people walked out the doors of a church building and never to return again because of what I'm talking about right here. I give up. I'm done. In other words, we really don't trust God the way we should. Ooh. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. Yeah, that's right. But do you really believe it? Yeah. No, I mean, do you believe it enough that when you're out against something you don't think you can whip, something you just can't overcome, you're just hurt, you're beat down, can you still come up out of the ditch and get back in the fight? I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. In Hebrews 11:6, and without faith it is impossible to please God. And if I can't please God, I can't please me. And if I can't please me and God, I certainly can't please you. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he's a rewarder of those who seek him. Oh, I believe in God. Do you? Then why do you doubt? Well, when we're faced against all kinds of problems, and I've been faced with them too so many times, why do I feel beat down, or I have to get physically ready for war when I've got whatever adversary stands in front of me beat to the ground? Because God, he'll take care of it. We need to trust God in everything. God will take care of our problems. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. Well, if I leaned on my understanding, I'd be flushed somewhere. In all ways, always acknowledge God. Well, thank you. Tough on you. It don't matter. You know who my Father is? My Heavenly Father is God Almighty. There's nothing can hurt my soul or spirit. Oh, they might kill my body, but I'm on my way to heaven. You know, He also make my path straight. You know, I'm always gearing off. I think this will be the best decision I'll make. If I just follow God's lead, everything will be fine. Romans 8:31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Think about that in just a minute, everybody here. Do you really hear and hear your spirit inside of you? Believe this. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? See, we set our own limitations. God don't. And our limitations for us, so we don't have to strive hard, is real low. Yeah, I'm a Christian. Well, that bar ain't but 2 inches off the ground. That's all I can do. We set our own limitations. Ephesians 5:17 says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. We want to understand. The Lord wants to reveal the truth from His Word. He wants to reveal His will for me and you. In order to receive that understanding, we personally have to move our limitations. Move the fence out. No, that's all. Move it. I can't. Yes, you can. With God's help, move it. Let's go. Don't limit what you think God can do through you. Let Him loose. Let Him just tear up the world and make it right in His sight with all that you can personally do. The challenge of resentment and revenge. I put this in there. I had a long problem with this a lot of times in my life. Moses had interceded for the children so many times because they neglected the Lord. They obviously did not trust the Lord. They also did not trust or appreciate what Moses had done for them. They put their own faith in themselves. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. In fact, nobody can tell me I'm wrong about anything because I know everything. And anybody you see like that honestly don't know nothing. Send them to me. At this point, so many servants of God simply walk away. I don't need church. I don't need worship. I don't need them brothers and sisters. I got God and I'm on my way to heaven. I'm going to stay home straight in my sock drawer. Christ said in Luke 22:27, for who is greater? Listen to this. Who's the greatest in your mind? We don't give participation trophies. For who is greater? He who sits at the table or he who serves at the table? I'm a Christian. Why? Because he said so. The one sitting at the table or the one serving? Which one's greater? Is it not he who sits at the table? Yet I am among you as the one who serves. You want to just sit there? Jesus is saying, be the servant. Be the servant. Instead of retaliating, and boy, Moses had the reason to retaliate. I've had it with you guys. He made intercession on behalf of these Israelites. What? With all, they wanted to kill him and he's praying for them? We need more like Moses who will stand up for others and plead for them. Stand up for your brother. Stand up for your sister. Stand up for God. Don't just sit there. Even though they turned against him and wanted to rid themselves of him, he pleaded for them. And he even still loved them. What would I have done in that situation? A lot of times in my life, I'd want to shoot somebody. Today, with God's patience, I believe I want to pray for them. And I believe you do too. Romans chapter 12, verse 14, 17 through 21. I've summed it up for you. Bless those who persecute you. Do not retaliate. Bless those who, yes. Those that always against you, just bless them. Pray for them. Tell them you love them. Well, I've seen people, if I told them love, they'd probably smack me right in the face. Just tell them again. Do not retaliate. Try your best to keep the peace. And by the way, boys and girls, this is a whole lot easier for me to preach than it is to live. I challenge myself too. Don't fall in the trap of vengeance. Don't do it. Vengeance is God's part. Moses managed to handle most of the challenges. And we can too, if we remember the godly life is never easy. But I'm going to guarantee you one thing. It is flat out rewarding. Can you imagine digging a ditch and you think, I'll never get to the end, and then all of a sudden when you do, when you get there, you got a steak and lobster dinner waiting on you and people are shouting and hollering hooray, that don't even touch the end of time. It's going to be great. That's the end of that message. We got challenges, brothers and sisters, but we can overcome them all. Don't lose our faith in God. God loves us. He's there. He's like a real daddy and a real son and daughter. And my daddy should take care of me no matter what. And my heavenly Father will, no matter what. You've heard the gospel. You have to hear the gospel. You have to believe every word of the Old Testament that tells what's going to happen, and one day it's fulfilled when Christ came. Now we live under the New Testament. We can look over and see what He prophesied. We can look over and see that it's fulfilled through Christ. That's where we are. And there's things that we have to do. I believe it with all my heart. And once I've heard that, I want to change anything in my life. I'll stand up to my boss. I'll stand up to my parents. I'll stand up to my kids. I'll stand up to anybody. I'm going to do what God says. And I'm going to change whatever I need to change in my life. And you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to tell the world that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And then I want to go right up here. I want to be buried. Romans 6, 4 through 6. Bury this old man you're looking at. Wash away all my sins and let me come up a new creature. And then I've got the right to walk through life. And when I stump my toe and I do something I shouldn't do, all I got to do is ask my Father in heaven with a real sincere heart, forgive me, God, I'm sorry. I know I disappointed you again. I ask you to forgive me of my sins. And you're clean again. If you have a need, come forward as we stand and as we sing.